Everyone, you are watching Rob's MetalWorks, and we have returned here to the Paper Tiger to support a band from across the pond. Yes, I'm going to introduce many of you to a very killer band from London. Brings me great pleasure to welcome Jack Doolan of the band CYPHER16. Jack, welcome to the program. It is my honor to have you.
Good to meet you. How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm glad to be here with you, really in your inaugural tour of the USA.
Yeah, that's pretty much right, man. We came over many years ago to do a little show in Florida, I think it was, but this is the first full length, so we're excited to be here.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, things are kind of breaking a little bit for CYPHER16 out of London. Obviously, there's going to be also people who are hearing about the band for the first time. So for those people, share a little bit about the history of CYPHER16, how you guys have kind of come up.
Okay, so CYPHER16 has been going since about 2008-9, so a little while. We've toured in 16 countries. We've done India 5 times. We've been to China twice. We've done all of Europe. As I say, we went to America once. So it's been a long, steady but upward road, and we've seen a lot of the world and toured in lots of cool places. So yeah, man, we haven't messed around kind of with seeing stuff and doing things that bands haven't really conventionally gone and done. But we've had some amazing experiences and learned a lot from doing it. So.
Now you're kind of breaking a little bit of ground here in the U.S. Kind of, as we mentioned, we're going to talk more about your first tour here in the U.S. How did kind of some of the relationships and kind of that crossover into the U.S. market kind of happen for the band?
We have toured with Amaranth before. They took us out in Finland and Estonia and also in Norway. And they're obviously based in Sweden, so we have quite a good relationship with those guys. I think the US tour offer came about after a bit of a testing, proving ourselves ground on these previous tours. So they kind of knew we were good for it, as it were. Kind of able to go out with, on a big run. The other tours were a little bit shorter numbers of dates wise. So it took about 2 years of relationship to grow, but we love those guys and we're super close and we're excited to be out here with them.
That's what I tell people all the time, that in this business, especially in the heavy metal business, it's all about relationships.
Absolutely, man. It's all about making friends and finding the people who you think you work well with, who the fans like. Their fans are great to us in Europe, so we wanted to come and hopefully have the same experience with the US fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you got to pick the right bands, you got to make the right friends, and it's all about those relationships. Yeah.
So let's talk musically about what CYPHER16 is delivering. I've gotten asked in the past week with my crew and introducing them to your music. If someone came up to you and said, "Jack, tell us about your band. What are you delivering musically?" What would you say?
I would say we deliver very heavy rock metal, I guess. It's all melodic, all clean vocals, so no screaming.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a big thing to introduce people.
And you have a very distinct voice. I think that's one of the things I love about the band.
Yeah, I guess I do. I'm Hetfield is the hero. I'm actually, we know the Metallica guys, so we know Kirk and stuff, so that's really cool.
Wow.
But I stand and watch those guys, all the time, just trying to model. I think my range is similar to what he can do. It's not a huge vocal range, but it's quite distinct, so I like to try and play to those strengths, if I can.
Talk a little bit about The Great Surveyor and how is it representing what CYPHER16 is doing in these latter years?
Okay, so I mean, you're right in saying it's actually the first debut full-length release, because I always said I want the full length to be something strong and a great record and something I'm always going to be proud of, because although you guys are very shit up on your history of the band, which you're telling me more shit than I know even, but in my mind, the history of the band, in many people's minds, will start with the first record, the first full length, So we didn't ever want to rush into that, and we'd spent years getting it ready until we were, I'd written something that I was happy that this can be the first, full length fucking album.
So let's talk a little bit now about the title, The Great Surveyor.
A guy who comes from nothing but realizes that if you tell people what to do, they'll do it and they'll follow you. Kind of like a lot of the great dictators of the world. And he realizes that he can become all-powerful, basically by his attitude. And he's no different from anyone else, but he has this whole watch thing.
Obviously, The Great Surveyor, correct me if I'm wrong, came out in your neck of the woods in 2015, is that correct?
That's right. It was, I think it was October. I think it was October the 16th, actually.
Constant Evolution Records.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And still, obviously, I'm guessing that you feel this record and this music still deserves the support here in the areas where we have not been exposed to that music.
Absolutely, and I think, I've had our manager on me going, when are you going to record the next record? And we're writing it, man. We started writing it right after we finished this one. So we're going to go in and do it, but I want to tour this one because I think it's a great record, and I don't think it's exhausted yet. So I wanted to definitely, if we could get this US run, which we thankfully did, come and do this US run, get the record distributed in America, which I think it is now being. So I don't know what the record store situation is in America, because I know Tower Records went a number of years ago, but basically the problem is there's now no moral consequences in the minds of young people when it comes to stealing music, because they don't see it as stealing anymore. It's so easy to download music, and I've had fucking fans come up to me and say, hey, that was a fucking great show, man. I go, please buy our CD, help us get to the next place. No, I'm just gonna go download it. It's like, oh, from iTunes? No, I can do it quicker on BitTorrent or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. And they go, no, it's fine. There's no, if I do it, there's something in my head that goes, that's stealing. So
there's no guilt involved, is what you're saying.
I don't, for me, if I did that, I don't download music, and I prefer to buy the CD because I like the hard, I'm all about the hard copy, the booklet, the CD, the whole package, otherwise I don't feel like I bought anything. And the whole experience going down to the CD store, all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think it's really important that young people understand that it costs us a shit ton of money to make the fucking record. If we don't make the money back on the record, at least we can't then tour the record, because the hole we get into financially it becomes inescapable. And essentially, bands are now touring to try and pay back the money they owe on the record, because the sales haven't recouped. But then they come out of the tour owing on the tour.
Yeah.
And it can't go on forever, you know?
Yeah. You're 3 dates in, just a few dates in, so how's it been going so far?
We have a couple of slight bureaucracy issues with the US Embassy in London going on right now. So it's been rough. It's been a rough couple of days. It's been a difficult start. If you come to a show, you'll understand what's going on. It's all under control. It's very cool. We're still playing the shows. But it's been a rough start. We're waiting for some documents to come through for a certain member of the band. The sound check in here was really cool. This was actually the best sound check we've had so far. So we're really looking forward to tonight.
Good peeps here at the Paper Tiger.
Right, man. I'm super impressed, actually. And we went, when we went down to San Antonio, did the Riverwalk, did the Alamo, which is super cool. Because the best thing about being a support band is you get time. They're like, yeah, we don't need you to 4:30. So we're like, fuck yeah, we're going sightseeing, man. Which for me is super important, because if you're just on the bus all day for like 5 weeks, you're gonna kill you. You're gonna go crazy.
The last thing you need to do before you leave this damn town is get some good Tex-Mexican food.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Yeah.
I was talking to Am, and he was like, Rob, where's a good place to eat? I said, man, you got to get a little deeper downtown, but you have to get some good Tex-Mex food before you leave this city.
That's what we're going to do too. We got a 1,000-mile drive coming up to Colorado, so we can stock up and put it on the bus.
So this run goes up until the beginning of March.
Mid-March, actually. I think we fly on March 13th, all being well. So our visas run out on, my visa got extended at the immigration. The girl was like, when do you leave? I said, we got to be out by March 12th, otherwise we're overstayers, you know? Oh no, I think you get some grace. I'm just going to add 10 days. I was like, wow, fuck yeah. Any of the other guys, you get some extra 10 days? No. They said, they were like, you got to be at the airport March 11th. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. So, because I think we have a show on March 11th, so. But that's cool. I can take a vacation here for a week.
What would you like to do for the rest of 2017 with the band?
I'd like to play a couple of major festivals in the UK and Europe. I'd like to get back in the studio. We're talking to Gajira guys, are very good friends of ours, and Joe. We're tentatively talking about using his studio in New York to go and do some of the new record. We have offers in Sweden, the UK, New York, so we're kind of sport for choice about where we can do this. But I'd love to go and work with him. He's killer, and Taylor, his TM, who organises the studio, is the man. So we'd love to do that.
So is it safe to, just with those statements, is it safe to assume that you've already been writing, you already have new music?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're maybe tentatively halfway through the record. So yeah, we got stuff. I just don't really ever sit down and go, I need to have a record out next month, so I'm going to sit down and write a song today. It's because you're just going to write something shit. So I tend to find that ideas kind of come into my head when I'm doing something totally different and nowhere near a fucking guitar, which is annoying because you have to sing ideas on the bus, kind of in like la 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 in your phone when you're supposed to be doing the washing up or something. But that's what, for me, that's when the best ideas come. The problem with that is it then doesn't really give you much of a timeline for when you've got to have stuff happening. But I find then you go into a writing spree and you get 2-3 weeks of really solid stuff, and you can write a record in that time.
So when would you anticipate to get something new out, or when would you like to get something new out, strategically speaking?
Strategically, there's no reason why we couldn't have something out by the end of the year or early 2018, which would be nice. I think this record can tour through 2017. I think it's still got life in it. So yeah, I think that's a sensible time. I want to see more of the world,
Jack, it's been my pleasure to have you on the show, sir. Any last words that you would like to share with fans around the world who will see this interview?
come out to a show, buy some merch, buy the CD, keep us going.
Remember, everyone out there, you saw the man Jack Doolin here on the program. Look for the great surveyor out there from CYPHER16. You saw him only on Rob's Metalworks.